talk about Python Terminal, and also we're going to talk about JupyterLab. Okay, so when you install the Python on operating system, whether you use a PC or let's say a Mac or Unix or Linux, right? So the first thing you install actually is something called PVM. It's a Python virtual machine. So the benefit of Python virtual machine is that all the Python code, let's say here's the Python code, right? All it needs to do is to interact with PVM. It doesn't need to care about what's the operating system underneath, and make it lots easier to transport the Python code from one operating system to another, right? So when you try to interact with PVM, and you need to go through something called a Python terminal. That's the old days, right? You try to interact with Python terminal. Someone wants to do some scientific research, and he wants to do more than just write Python code. You know, he wants to create something, let's say a chart or some math formulas. Maybe somewhere he can, write some notes. So the guy's name is Fernando. He's the creator of the Jupyter. So he wants to create something that is more powerful and more convenient than Python terminal. So the first thing he did, actually he created Ipython, something called Ipython, right? So in the Ipython, and you're gonna see, and it has more features and more colors, and to help to write Python code. And later on, he created something called Ipython Notebook. Okay, the Ipython Notebook actually runs on the browser. I believe that was in year 2014. Yeah, I might be wrong. But then this Ipython Notebook, because it runs on the browser, has even more features. And then he started to support other language, for example, the R, and also the Julia, and some other languages. It's kind of weird, right? Because it's called Ipython, but actually it runs R code. So in 2015, that's one of the reasons, because it runs different languages. It's changed to something called the Jupyter project. Okay, called the Jupyter project. Within the Jupyter project, they changed the name from the Ipython Notebook to Jupyter Notebook. So that's how the Jupyter Notebook got started. That started in year 2015, right? So created the Jupyter project with the Jupyter Notebook, okay? And then he wants something more. So in 2018, okay, so he created something called the JupyterLab. It's supposed to be the next generation of the Jupyter Notebook. But at the beginning of the project in 2018, it's reported has some bugs, and so not many people actually started using it. But in the middle of 2019, which basically is just a few months ago, and things started getting very stable. So right now we are in year 2020. So if you want to get started with JupyterLab, I think it's a great editor. It has all the features that is listed underneath here, okay, and including the Jupyter Notebook. So that's give a little history of how the Python editor got evolved from the terminal and all the way to the JupyterLab. So let's take a look at the Python terminal. So when you run on Python terminal, you basically just go to a regular Mac terminal and you try to type something called, let's say Python, right? If I type Python, actually you can see here actually it's Python 2.7. That's my default Python, right? So you can write something, let's say a print, and you don't need bracket because it's Python 2. You print hello, right? And then you get hello, right? So let's exit this, and you want to run Python 3. Let's just go Python 3, right? And now you can see it's Python 3.8, and you can write another print, right? But you cannot use double quotes anymore. You have to use bracket because it's Python 3. And same thing, you write hello, so you get Python 3. So that's basically, it's a Python terminal, and all you see is black white. There's no coloring, and there's no auto completion, right? So but before we get into other editors, let me show you how to run a Python program. The Python program actually is just a text file. So let's say I create a text file. I hope you know how to use VI. If you don't, let me know. Maybe I should create another video for you. Let's say I started, what's the name? Let's say hello, or good morning. Let's say good morning, right? Good morning good morning dot py, right? So I opened it, right? I try to write something. I say, good morning, enjoy your day. Okay, so now I save it. Okay, so I want to see if the good morning file is there. I can see, yeah, it's right there, good morning py, right? So when I try to run it, I can say, right, this is run with Python. Let's say I run Python 3 to be safe, and good morning dot py, run it, and now you can see the output is good morning, enjoy your day. So it's very, running a Python program is very simple. It's just basically just write a program and type the Python command. You can run this on the Unix, on the Mac, on the PC. They're all the same. So basically this is the basic of running a Python program. But let's try something else. Let's say, in the Blackboard, we talk about the Ipython. Let's see if the Ipython is still there. Let's just give a try. Yeah, it's still there. So let's just write the same thing. I say print hello. Now you can see there's a little color, right? So and then you can see the output, and there's a little space. So it's much better. So basically that's the Ipython, right? And then let's say exit this one. Okay, so let's give another try for Ipython Notebook. Ipython Notebook, which you guys should know this by now. What happened? Oh, this called, must be late at night. So it's called Jupyter Notebook. I don't know why Ipython Notebook. Okay, so let's open the Jupyter Notebook, and now you can see. So this is the Jupyter Notebook, right? So it's much better, right? If you opened it, and you can see, so I did some kind of program I created for the homework. Then there are different things. You can go open the file, and you can see what kind of menu in there. And same thing, right? So same thing if you open a JupyterLab, if you have to Control C, right? And then you shut down. Okay, if you don't know the command, just use the GUI interface, right? So if you want to do a JupyterLab, would that work? Yeah. Now you can see it's JupyterLab. Okay, this, like I said, is created in 2018. Has more features. Even the menu. You have the sidebar, right? So actually, it's quite an improvement from the Jupyter Notebook. I kind of encourage you to try both of them. Try to be curious, right? For example, in the JupyterLab, I open a new notebook. This notebook is same as the notebook that you see here, right? And then you can see, let's say there's a little circle, and if you're curious about what the circle is, sometimes it's solid. This is like a little hollow, right? So if you have any questions, or any question about any types and anything on the menu, just let me know, and I'll try to explain that to you. But just try to be like like a kid or like a child, and just try to be curious, right? And just poke around, and you're not gonna break anything, right? The worst case is just reinstall everything just poke around and try to play around, right? If you have any questions, let me know. So I hope this give you some idea about the Python terminal and also the Jupyter Notebook and the JupyterLab. And I hope you like the video. Thank you very much.